The penultimate door is at Ballygally Castle, and this door is rich with imagery that references the great Battle of the Bastards. We've got the stark direwolf head above Winterfell, and below it we have the flayed man of the Boltons, a very dramatic door. Ballygally Castle was quite an experience to visit. They do these Game of Thrones banquets, and we were actually treated to one, although the main course for us was not the usual lamb. Instead we had these amazing tomahawk steaks on the bone, and I think there was something like half a kilo of meat on each of them. I thought there was actually one for us to share, and then they brought in another one, so I'm not quite sure how I managed to fit in the lovely desserts afterwards as well. The castle is actually the oldest still used 17th century building in Northern Ireland, although it is obviously a hotel rather than a regular residence now, and it comes with this beautiful garden, a lovely river walk, lovely for a beautiful day to take that one, and of course it has its own ghosts. I think it's actually supposed to have several, but in particular it has this ghost room upstairs. We were taken to it along a winding staircase, and so that's the place to stay if you want to get a bit haunted as well.
Now, this door was actually the last door to be unveiled, which is the 10th door at the Dark Horse pub in Belfast. The Dark Horse has this really fascinating mural outside of it, mixing together Game of Thrones imagery with sort of Irish imagery and things, and a bit of a very tongue-in-cheek attitude, with Kit Harington featuring a tattoo that apparently says "I like water" or "I love water" in Gaelic. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe I was misled about this, so if someone has a more accurate translation, by all means share it in comments. But it was an interesting thing to see before we went in, to see this huge crowd gathered to wait for the door. And this was quite the party, 150 some people, and they had various celebrity guests like the direwolves that served as pups in the first season. These are Odin and Thor with their owners, who actually have been extras on the show as well. I don't know which is Odin, I don't know which is Thor, but they're really beautiful, handsome dogs. And as I said, everyone was really expecting to see these doors, and you could see people crowding around to see it. We could barely glimpse ourselves, and basically this shot that I had was at the end after people had finally kind of cleared out, so we could finally get a good look at it. Lannister symbolism, of course, is a big thing given the finale, King's Landing. It's definitely a great way to cap off this whole door project.
And there you have it. All 10 of the doors of the Game of Thrones door tour. And if you visit them all, you will see a lot of beautiful scenery. You'll be able to go to a lot of the filming locations that are nearby, and you'll get to visit some very charming and lovely pubs run by some wonderful people. But that's actually not all that we have for you from Northern Ireland. We have two bonus videos of sorts.
Yes, we had quite a lot of footage from along the coast, the North Coast, the coast of Antrim, which is justly famous as one of the most beautiful coastlines in Europe. Absolutely adored it. And so what we're going to do with that footage actually is, I thought about giving a nice and fire connection would be to discuss the coastlines of Westeros and their sort of their history, their implications for the story, all these things. Because, I mean, fans have been really speculating about a lot of the details about sort of, and even people who are geologists looking at what the geology of Westeros is like. And, there are details or hints throughout the novels. In particular, for example, White Harbor protects this firth, and these firths are basically fjords, right? And that's a glacial process that creates them. So I think it'll be really interesting to kind of discuss it, and rather than just looking at us talking about the geography, we'll actually put in some of these images that we have to compare to sort of the areas around, Ballantoy and so on, Larrybane and the rest.
That should be a nice change of pace for you.
Change of pace. So then that'll be a nice and fire video, since I know that we kind of drifted off with all this Game of Thrones content. And then after that, the other video.
Yes, that's a special favorite of mine. It has to do with this lovely necklace that I'm wearing again, which is from Steenson's, and it is a licensed Game of Thrones necklace, because what Steenson have been doing is they've made quite a lot of the jewelry for the show so far, and now they've launched a collection for the 5 sort of most prominent houses with necklaces, beautiful pins, and cufflinks. So we are going to take a look at their shop, and actually it's also their workshop. One of their shops is connected to their workshop, and it's a so-called economusée, I believe it's called, where they basically show off crafts, old-fashioned traditional crafts, and you get to see how the pieces are being made, and then you can try to resist not taking one of them home with you, because they make
or more.
Yeah, or more, because they don't just make Game of Thrones pieces. They've been around for 40 years. They're a second generation family-owned business, and they make lots of pretties.
So many thanks to Tourism Ireland for kind of giving us the opportunity. Thanks once again to the amazing Dee Morgan, our tour guide. She was absolutely fantastic. I think she has a website. We'll link that. And it was just a great experience. And I'm kind of looking forward to another visit to Northern Ireland sometime, just to take it in at a little bit of a slower pace and see a bit more. Yeah, and maybe
do some hiking, some riding.
Until then,